our memory is not perfect, but we tend to recall the gist of things. And if that weren't the case, then we wouldn't be writing histories today. We wouldn't be doing documentaries still today of World War II, interviewing vets from that war, even though it's what are we looking at? 75 years later, and yet there are some survivors and they can still testify to some of those things. If their memories are entirely unreliable, stop interviewing them, right? Stop interviewing Korean War vets. Stop interviewing Vietnam War vets more recently, because the Vietnam War has been over for 45 years, and that's a longer period of time than the time the Gospel of Mark was written and when Jesus died. So many of us will recall us who were adults at the time have a pretty good memory of what happened on 9/11, where we were, what the weather was like, when we learned that the Twin Towers had been attacked by terrorists, and the Pentagon, and the plane crash in the Pennsylvania farm field. So we do have some decent memories, and even if some people misremember what the weather was like on 9/11, which I think it was pretty much the same here in the U.S. It was sunny all over. But if someone misremembered that, still you got communal memory. Most people I've asked who were adults at the time, if they remember what the weather was like on 9/11, they remember it because they were emotionally involved and impacted by that event. But of course, if you ask them what the weather was on 9/11 last year or even this year, they may not know. But they'll remember what it was like 19 years ago because they were emotionally impacted by it.
Yep. I can still recall teachings of my college professors, and those are lessons and teachings which, even if I don't remember verbatim, I still remember the essence of their teaching and could put it into terms that would be faithful representations of what they taught me. They impacted me in that manner.
Yeah, that makes sense. And there's an example, a guy named Joe Galloway who was he was a combat reporter with Lieutenant Colonel Hal Moore, that is represented by the movie We Were Soldiers with Mel Gibson and Sam Elliott in it. And I saw Joe Galloway in a documentary, and so he's talking about those 4 harrowing days of intense combat with the North Vietnamese Army during, I think it was 1964, 1965. And he says, you see it, you live it, you experience it, and it will be with you all of your days. And he's saying this decades later. And, we have to remember, if these people actually saw Jesus walk on water, they saw him raise the dead, they saw him confront the Jewish leaders, they saw him crucified, and then later they saw him alive and in perfect health, having been raised from the dead. You will remember those things decades later.